Y'all know the name.
Okay, I've got something for you. The new parts have been fitted to the car. The simulation numbers are good, so look forward to your feedback. Check out the details.
What's going on, guys? My name's Martinio and welcome back to Formula 1 2016 Part 3, and today we're at the Chinese Grand Prix, and as good old Lumphead has just told us, we have the new part fitted to our car. So the rear floor under tray has been revised and it's reduced the chassis weight and so on and so forth. So firstly, I want to apologise about how long it's taken to get these episodes out. It really is a mammoth effort to try and get these done in time for when I say I'm going to get them done. So no more promises about when they come in. They'll come when they come, because it takes about 3 hours to record it, 3.5 hours, and then another 4 hours to edit it. And then once I've edited it, I've got to do the voice over, which I'm doing now. So it's a whole process. It's very, very long. Okay, but moving on. So firstly, again, I'm the only team to make an upgrade to the car this weekend, so I'm thinking that maybe the other teams, they're going to be doing it at what will be the traditional point of when F1 teams bring out their first set of upgrades, their big upgrades, which will be for the Spanish Grand Prix, which will be happening after the next one, so that'll be round 5. Also, in addition to that, I've decided to do something a little bit different for practice. I'm deciding to do the qualifying run in FP2. And the one thing I didn't do last time was show you the table. So this is a driver's standings table. So Kimi Raikkonen still leads, 4 points from Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel is on 33 points and 27 points. You've got Max Verstappen. All the way down there in 5th, you've got Rosberg and Ricciardo. So they're not having the best of times. Moving on to practice, however. And I didn't do too badly. This was FP1 and this is the track acclimatization. And I didn't do too badly. It took me a while to try and get a rhythm, and I only managed to go green, so met the expectations of the team. However, a little bit later on in the practice, we got this. So, looking at the weather reports for the race, it is going to be at some point a wet Grand Prix from the looks of it. So I decided to go out and try and get a setup together. As you can see at the bottom right of the screen there, you've got the projected weather. So there's P2, P3, they're looking to be dry, as is qualifying. But the race will start dry and then eventually become wet. So I had to try and figure out a qualifying setup. Oh, sorry, a race setup.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
And there go the qualifying goals. So finish 17th or higher and beat Jolyon Palmer. Fairly straightforward again. And yeah, so the big challenge, as you can see there from the practice programs, purple in the qualifying pace, green in the tyre management and the track acclimatization there. So that was all well and good. But yeah, it was trying to find, the big one was trying to find a setup that was going to work in the dry to give me a good enough pace in qualifying, but also in the wet when it does become that. So moving into what was qualifying 1, and we made it through fairly easily there, a 140.475, and that put us 5th. But by the end of qualifying, we'd kind of just scraped in. It was only about what was it, 2/10 maybe? 2/10 of a second between finishing 17th and 14th. So I knew I had to really try and kick it up a little bit going into Q2, and we go a lot better on 139.9, which would eventually leave us in 7th. So we made it into Q3 once again. Our teammate didn't manage to get out of I think he fell out in Q1 actually, and then on to Q3, the top 10 shootout. There was the checkered flag. I left it very, very late to get as much rubber on the track as possible, and eventually I finished 8th. So again, we've made a small improvement. We started 9th in the last Grand Prix, and now we're starting 8th. Rosberg took pole from Raikkonen and Vettel. Ricciardo finished 4th. Lewis Hamilton way down in 5th. Then Verstappen, Kvyat, myself, Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso. and we got quite a few resource points as well for that. So we moved from what was at the start we had 33 points, so we're now on 406, given the practice programs as well. And in addition to that, we've also got very, very close to winning the first driver rival route. So we've got 26 points to Jolyon Palmer's 17, so a good race. And we'll definitely finish that off and be getting a new rival in time for the Russian Grand Prix, which is round number 4, the next one. So looking at the driver position, as you can see, I've moved up to 7 points, which isn't bad considering I finished the Australian Grand Prix on 0 points, so we've done well over the last couple of races. And we've got a voicemail to listen to as well. Goody gumdrops.
Hi, it's Emma here. Just wanted to let you know what the team are hoping for in the race.
So, team expectations: finish 14th or higher, beat Jolyon Palmer, and at the end of it, finish or be placed 17th or higher in the Drivers' Championship. Fairly straightforward. So, hopefully, as long as we can do well when and if it becomes wet, I think we're going to have a very, very good Grand Prix. But everybody's strapped in, the cars are ready to go. Let's hang out with our Mr. Wangs out for the Chinese Grand Prix. Let's go!
You managed to qualify better than we expected yesterday, so let's do the same again today.
So here we are sat on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix, and as you can see on the screen there, we have a 3-stop strategy penned in for the race. So starting on the super softs, which we got through into Q3 on from Q2, and then we're moving on to soft tyres, another set of soft tyres and mediums. However, as I mentioned before, looking at the forecasts, we are going to be getting rain, and that forecast hasn't changed. So if you can look, or if you see at the top just above where I'm selected at the moment, you'll see that for half the race we'll have rain. So I'm thinking that around about the second stop, that's when everybody's going to start making very difficult calls as to when to come in to put the tyres on. When will it become wet enough? Is it still dry enough to do this stop and maybe eke out a little bit of extra time before having to come in? So everybody's strategy potentially is going to get thrown out the window as soon as the rain does come. I've also got an extra lap of fuel in there, so again, my thinking being that if I get out from my final stop and maybe I'm just outside the points or I'm in the points and the opportunity arises to maybe get some more points and move up maybe even to a very, very good top 5 position, I'll be able to turn up the engine and have a real good go at them for the final few laps of the race. But yeah, we're all set and ready to go. The cars are on the grid. The tyres are warmed up. I'm hanging out with Mr. Wang out. Let's get it going. Chinese Grand Prix from the Shanghai International Circuit. Starting 8th. Let's go. So here we go. On the grid. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we're away for the Chinese Grand Prix, and my initial start's kind of sluggish, but the second phase of it was very, very good, and we've actually jumped Danny Kvyat, and we're alongside the Red Bulls now. We're on the outside of this long turn number 1. Hulkenberg's made a good start also, and he actually gets into the side of me, so there's contact made, and he's spun around. So I get a warning for a collision with Hulkenberg, but it very much looked like he crashed into me, and as you can see on screen, we've got a safety car, so a very early safety car for the accident with Hulkenberg, as Verstappen basically brake checks us. So yeah, and the safety car stayed out for quite a while, so this is the end of lap number 4, so a good 3.5 laps before the safety car did actually come in. And as we're just about to get restarted again, Felipe Massa has a massive engine blow up just behind us. So moving on to what is lap number 5 now, and I'm still a bit surprised the safety car was brought out for that initial accident, and you'll be even more surprised considering there isn't another safety car right now, because I'm going to show you a replay of what happened following Felipe Massa's engine explosion. So there goes the engine. He pulls off to the side, obviously older driver, very responsible, but for some reason he just keeps going and going and going, and inevitably, boom, massive accident with Pascal Wehrlein's Manor, and I'm very surprised the safety car wasn't deployed for that. That, if anything else, between the two accidents, that one warrants a safety car more than the other one, because that was a huge accident. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure how it's worked out when a safety car is deployed and what parameters, but they might have to, Codemasters might have to tweak it and bring a patch out, because that seemed a little bit silly to me. So, yeah, as I said, I was due to come in on the at the end of lap number 3, I believe it was, but considering we were under the safety car and I wasn't using that much tyre life, I opted to stay out, hopefully to get a little bit closer to the guys ahead and maybe jump a couple of them, but also to put a bit of space between myself and the pack. I didn't want to be released in traffic, especially at the restart, which we've shown can be quite hectic. So this is the end of lap number 5. I decided to make the jump now, even though it was only a couple of laps later and only stayed out for an extra lap. However, I managed to put a bit of space between me and the cars behind, and hopefully might be able to jump the guys who pitted early, which was Rosberg, Hamilton, Vettel. So yeah, really was struggling to try and get the car out of that long right-hander coming onto the main straight as we make the stop. 2.6 seconds, so a pretty quick stop there. Could have been quicker, we have seen quicker, as Hamilton goes past, and then he's followed by Vettel and Rosberg, who are right on each other, and we managed to just get out ahead of Danny Kvyat. So we jumped him at the start and we've managed to stay ahead of him through our first pit stop. I'm fairly certain he has also made his first pit stop there. So it seems everybody around me is on the super soft tyres, as Rosberg manages to just get by Sebastian Vettel, so he takes the position, so he's now up into P15. And myself, I'm trying to close on them, as I think we've got some Red Bulls in the pits, at least one of them, as we come down the main street. Again, the last corner I was finding it difficult to get out of, but yet there goes the Red Bull of Danny Ricciardo. He gets out just ahead of us, but I managed to duck down the inside, managed to get track position for this very tight turn number 2 and turn number 3. And now we're just behind Vettel, and his exit isn't very good, so it looks like his super soft tyres are going off. And we've now got a run on him down to what would be my favourite overtaking position for this course. And we managed to just get by him, we get it slowed down, and we've now jumped into P15. So we're ahead of Vettel, we're ahead of Ricciardo. So we're doing well. The strategy call to stay out a little bit longer seems to have worked, and now on the soft tyres as well, that seems to have worked, because this track does tend to chew up tyres. As now we move on a little bit further into the race, I think this is coming towards the end of lap number 7. We've managed to get down the outside of Rosberg. It doesn't quite stick, but I managed to get my tyre just on the outside of that. Big moment, managed to hold it, but now it's going to put me right into the clutches of Vettel and Ricciardo, as Max Verstappen comes out and Ricciardo actually gets past us. So Ricciardo takes the position. I'm having to defend from now Sebastian Vettel. So yeah, Verstappen gets out ahead of Rosberg. So Verstappen 13th, Rosberg 14th, Ricciardo 15th, and myself in 16th place. However, as I said, this has been a favourite point to overtake, and I managed to do one. Managed to just keep it out the back of Rosberg's rear end, and we get a good run, good traction, so you can see how the super soft tyres are going off. And I actually managed to jump Rosberg as well, so we've managed to take back not only the position we lost to Ricciardo, but we've also managed to get past Nico Rosberg as well. So we carry on. This is towards the end of lap number 8 now, and I'm making a stop a little bit earlier, and I've decided, given how the traction is going away, I've decided to make a bit of a gamble, and this stop I actually pit for intermediate tyres. Now looking at the track, it doesn't seem like it's going to warrant me intermediate tyres, but I figured it may save us a pit stop rather than coming in and having to put in a new set of soft tyres, which would have been what our second stop was putting on, and then having to come back in a lap or 2 laps later to put in another one. We may save ourselves a pit stop and pick up some positions. So behind us we've got Danny Kvyat, who's actually put on the soft tyre, and at this point I'm thinking maybe I have made a mistake, because as you can see, very difficult to try and get the car turned in, having little difficulties trying to get power down. You're getting little shimmies and wobbles as the back end tries to step away from us. However, moving towards the end of lap number 10, my decision becomes fully justified. So Rosberg came out at the start of lap number 10 on the soft tyres, And again, that played into my insecurities about maybe jumping a little bit too early. But as you can see, Rosberg, along with a number of other cars, are having to make what is potentially a third pit stop for them. So the decision to make the early jump onto the intermediates is now becoming fully justified as we've moved up to 6th place. So a number of cars having to make a third pit stop. We've only made 2. So we're now up into 6th place, just behind, or a little bit behind Verstappen now. And this is moving on to the end of lap 16. So Verstappen's teammate Ricciardo had to come into the pits. And then we've got Gutierrez, and he's managed to jump Gutierrez. Surprisingly, Gutierrez's teammate, Roman Grosjean, actually leads the race from Raikkonen and Verstappen. So, as I said, this is the start of lap number 17. I've spent a good 4 laps trying to track him down. I've been slowly digging into what was about a 5-6 second lead. And as we're coming out of turn number 4, into what has been my favourite position on the track to make overtakes, we're going to make another one. So here we go. Very late braking, and we run it a little bit wide coming into the exit of the corner, but we managed to just make it stick, just get the power down, and we're now up into 4th position. And amazingly, the opportunity, the possibility that we can get a podium is now very, very real. So moving ahead to what is the end of lap number 18, as you can see, we've put a little bit of space between ourselves and Gutierrez just behind us. We're a little bit wide into the entrance of the corner there, and we've got Verstappen just a little bit ahead of us. And in the top left corner, you can see Raikkonen is actually taking the lead, so he's managed to jump Grosjean. So it's now Raikkonen from Grosjean from Verstappen, as we come in to make our 3rd and final pit stop, or what I'm hoping would be our final pit stop. And it was inevitable we were going to be the first to make the jump for our 2nd set of intermediate tyres. We were the first to make the jump onto the 1st set, and I don't think it's conceivable that anyone's going to be able to make these the intermediates last what would be from around about lap 9 or 10, so a good 18 laps. So it was a quick stop, 2.1 seconds, and we've come out a little bit of space just ahead of Button and a little bit way behind Carlos Sainz as the safety car is deployed. So we've got a safety car, and this is the reason why. So that's Perez, Sergio Perez, going slow on the exit onto the main straight. There goes Rosberg, so he's got a problem. Moving ahead to what is the end of the straight now, and it actually stops on the apex, so a little bit of contact there with a Manor, and then even bigger contact with what looks like the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. Perez manages to get going again, as does Ericsson. He's just coming to the shot there, and he goes to go around him, and there's almost another accident before he stops on the entrance of the pits. And this one is even more bizarre. So this is Sebastian Vettel behind the safety car, and he actually just plows straight into the back of it. And I think that's I think that might be Felipe Nasser who gets caught up in it as well. So Sebastian Vettel is out of the race. So this is coming towards the end of lap 22 and the end of the safety car period. As you can see, we're sandwiched between 2 Red Bulls. We've got Verstappen just ahead of us and Ricciardo just behind. However, Ricciardo has to serve a drive-through penalty for falling too far back under the safety car. So as we get going again, he ducks into the pits. We've got a little bit of a gap to Bottas as we're struggling to get the power down out of that last corner. So it's getting very, very difficult and getting even wetter. So I'm hoping that the wet tyres don't become a factor in this, that we don't get to a point where the wet tyres are required. This is a little bit further on into lap 23. As you can see, Roman Grosjean aggressively trying to defend his 2nd place from Max Verstappen, but Verstappen gets down the inside and he makes the move stick. So it's now Raikkonen from Verstappen from Grosjean, and that has put Roman Grosjean right in our clutches as we move on to what is lap number 24. Again, a little wobble, really struggling in that corner to get the power down. Very, very wet coming out of there. We've got a little bit of a gap to Bottas just behind us as we come through the first corner. Running a little bit wide, pick up a little bit of extra water, but we can cut in a little bit sharper through into what is turn number 2 and then turn number 3. And it's getting, this part of the track is very difficult. As you can see now, I'm having to drop down into 1st gear and short shift my way all the way through 3rd and 4th as well until we get into 5th, and I can really put the power down. And I'm right up behind Grosjean. I've got to run on him down into my favourite overtaking position, and we break a little bit later and we actually get the move done. So now we're up into 3rd place, amazingly. So as I said, the possibility of a podium was real a few laps ago, and now it's even more real. So here we go. We're on to what is the end of lap number 24 now, or coming towards the end part of lap number 24. And this corner again, I've also been struggling with, trying to find the line, trying to get the power down. And that third place I took from Grosjean is now very much under threat from Grosjean again, and also Valtteri Bottas with that Mercedes-powered Williams. So here we go, running down the main straight. I'm going to be able to just brake a little bit later. Managed to brake a little bit later, run a little bit wide. But I managed to just hold it as Grosjean has a real moment there and almost collects Valtteri Bottas. So we managed to hold on to third place, and with the little wobble that Grosjean had, we've managed to put a bit of space between us as well. So this is coming to the end of the penultimate lap, lap number 27, as Rio Haryanto has an engine failure. So in almost an identical position to Felipe Massa. However, this time, unlike Massa, he's going to do the sensible thing and pull it off to the side there, and his race is over. But for us, it carried on. So this is the end of the final lap as we come out of turn number 15, I believe it is. As you can see, behind Bottas has managed to jump Grosjean also. And as we come through the final corner, Raikkonen wins the race. Verstappen finishes second, but unbelievably, we're going to finish third. So we picked up an amazing third place finish. Team Radio.
Oh, yes, 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 come on.
So there you have it, guys. Absolutely incredible. We finished third. So only our third race of our career. And there I am, coming onto the podium, our first ever podium finish. I honestly didn't think that it would come this soon. I really didn't. But just amazingly, everything just fell into place. The call to go onto the intermediate tyres was near enough perfect. I think the Haas cars maybe pitted one lap later, and that got them a little bit further up. So maybe they made the optimal call. But the decision to go on to the inters early was a massive factor, and then at the end of our second pit stop, getting the safety car which bunched the pack up, that really helped us as well. So there's the final classifications. Raikkonen wins his second race of the season, 3 straight wins for Ferrari now. Verstappen second, myself third, but look down there, 10th Lewis Hamilton, 9th Nico Rosberg. Danny Ricciardo didn't even finish in the points due to his drive-through penalty. Grosjean finishes in a very good 5th. And here's the drivers' standings. So Raikkonen now has a massive 20-point lead at the top of the table from Max Verstappen. Hamilton drops down to 3rd. And you got Vettel, Rosberg and Ricciardo. So by the looks of it there, Raikkonen is really starting to run away with this championship, unbelievably. And Ferrari, as I said in the previous race, they've really come and brought a very good package to this season. So Mercedes are really up against it. We might see a very titanic battle between Mercedes and Ferrari for the Constructors and also the Drivers' World Championships. This is the Constructors' Championship then. So Ferrari take a big 33-point lead going into Russia. And Red Bull actually jump Mercedes. So Red Bull are in 2nd, Mercedes in 3rd. You got Williams and Force India, and ourselves now in 6th. They're just a little bit behind them, with only 4 points separating us from being in 4th place, the basic best of the rest. So this was a massive race and a massive result for us. I just can't put it into words really how difficult this race was, but how rewarding it was in the end. And as you can see, we moved up to 542 resource points. I did actually get another penalty point as well. So I'm now on 7 penalty points. So I think at some point during the season, I'm going to have to serve a grid penalty for the start of a Grand Prix. But it doesn't matter right now because it was just so amazing. It really was. And another big bonus is that podium, along with finishing ahead, means we've won the driver rival with Jolyon Palmer. So come the Russian Grand Prix, we're going to have a new rival. And Jolyon actually, as you can see there, finished in 14th place. So for some reason, he can't translate the upgrades into points finishes or improved finishes like I can. I'm not sure why. Hopefully, just for the team's sake, he's going to start getting his act together and being a little bit more competitive going forward. But yeah, we've won the driver rivalry, so going into Russia, we're going to have a new rival, which I wouldn't mind betting is Danny Kvyat, if I'm honest with you. And the driver position, so there we go. I've done all 4 of these, so I move up to what is overachieving, the full 10 points. So to finish the Australian Grand Prix with 0, and then at the end of our third race, so effectively just 2 races, I've gone from 0 points in the driver position up to 10. So I don't think it'll be too long until we're actually seen as the lead driver for Renault. And now, I believe we've got a voicemail here.
Hi, Emma here. I had a sit down with the executives today to talk about your progress. Long story short, they're happy. Keep it up.
So there you go. The team are happy. I'm very happy with an absolutely amazing podium finish. So there we go. Driver rivalry 1. We're exceeding the team's expectations. We've got all 10 points. We're in the purple for that. And we've got our first podium on the board. And as I said, I didn't think it would come this early, but just as Bahrain, nothing really went our way and mistakes were made. This time I was a little bit more aggressive strategy wise, especially with that first jump to Winters, and then everything just kind of fell into place. That second safety car right after we'd pitted was a big bonus. But looking at the research and development now, as I mentioned at the start, I'm not going to be doing any upgrades for this race. I'm going to use the points from this race and Russia to make a big upgrade in time for the Spanish Grand Prix. And considering how difficult I found it downforce wise, I'm thinking that front wings and then whatever comes after that, they will be we're going to do a double upgrade of those hopefully after the Russian Grand Prix, providing we get decent results in practice, qualifying and the race itself. Well, as you can see there on the right of the screen, we've actually jumped both McLaren and Haas in the vehicle comparison, and there is our first trophy, 3rd place in Shanghai, the Chinese Grand Prix. I've just decided to start flicking through things. There's nothing else there because they're the other seasons, but there we go. First podium, first points on the board. Amazing weekend, very difficult, but it all just came together. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy and you would like to see more from me on Formula 1 2016, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more content, daily content I keep saying, even though it's not daily, but subscribe for more content, more Formula 1, more Need for Speed. But in the meantime, everybody stay cool, and as always, I will catch you on the flip side. Peace! Ring around the copper, a pocket full of slopper. You can't get me, you can't get me. This is so much fun. Inside this time, biatch. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. That's what I wanted.